Hello and welcome to the module on capacity building. The first study unit is called Train the Trainer, and the first topic there is adult learning. Now this topic is essentially about how grown-ups, how adults learn, which is different from how children learn. There's a name for adult learning. Technical word is andragogy. And we're more familiar with the other term, which is pedagogy, because we often speak of pedagogical, which means, of course, teaching children. The word training, in fact, captures it, because we speak of training adults, whereas we teach children. And we have to understand, in general, that there's a very different way that adults learn from the way we learned when we were in school as children. One good example is that children can absorb languages in a way that adults can't do. You don't teach a child what a verb is, what a noun is, what an adjective is, and so on. But when you're learning another language as an adult, there's a whole different way of learning a language. And there's a mechanism children have for absorbing languages which actually shuts off in the brain at a certain age, and then we have to learn as adults. And what this topic really is about is trying to understand, before we get into training and training techniques and training administration and so forth, is how is it that adults learn? And so we base this topic on what's called the experiential learning cycle. And that is that we go through life as adults experiencing something that we then reflect on and analyze, coming to some conclusions and in fact learning points, if you like, and then putting that into action. Now, the experiential learning cycle that we show in our manual is a bit comical, because it has bricks falling on someone's head in a construction site, and that's the experience we have. And when we're home with our head all bandaged up, we're thinking about what happened and thinking, wow, you know, what would I do differently? Now, when you're back on the job, the end of this analysis comes to putting on a hard hat. And that's the action plan that comes out of that reflection. Now, this is just a metaphor, really, for how adults really learn. We learn from experience. We have so much knowledge and theory and so on already that children don't have, that, in fact, it's almost like we're full up and can't learn anymore in terms of pedagogy. Someone used the illustration very simply of a child. You can sort of open their head up and pour in a bunch of knowledge as a teacher, and then close their head up and send them home from school. But you can't do that with adults, because it's already full and overflowing. And so you have to think of a more slow, reflective, absorptive process of learning from what it is we do, and then maybe changing things a bit as we go. And so understanding our trainees, understanding the people we're dealing with as trainers, is very important. And this topic is all about differentiating between andragogy and pedagogy, and about the experiential learning cycle, and in broadly speaking, about how it is that adults learn. And as we're training, we're not teaching, we're training. What's the difference? And that's the key to this topic.